Welcome to the Smart Marketers Academy, where we help you to build your business smart, get more clients, and make more profits. I'm Davida Yemiakanle. I'm the founder and CEO of the Smart Marketers Academy, and on this program, we're looking at how you could find a profitable target market for your business, and this is Module 4. Now, on this module, we'll be looking at positioning your business for profits, which is what the whole program is about anyway, but we'll be looking at it in terms of the statistical characteristics of your marketplace. So what we'll be trying to determine is which target market is best for you to do business with to achieve the maximum results or the best return on your investment. Which target market will give you the best returns? So let's talk about market segmentation for a few minutes. There are three ways, or there are several ways, but we'll be looking at three ways of grouping people in the marketplace. And this is basically three ways of studying a subset of the marketplace. Like we mentioned earlier, we cannot do business with everybody. We need to choose a group of people, a subset of people with something that ties them together, something that makes them brings them together. For instance, it could be their age, it could be their ethnicity, it could be their attitude, it could be the way they think, something that brings them together as a group. And once we think about those, it could be one thing, it could be several things. In most cases, it will be several things that helps you identify them as a group. And when you do that, you begin to know the particular characteristics of the people you're trying to do business with, and the more you know the people you do business with, the easier it is for you to help them meet their needs, serve their interests, and make a profit. So we'll be looking at this from three angles. We'll be looking at demographics, we'll be looking at sociographics, and we'll also be looking at psychographics. So in terms of demographics, we think about things like statistical data such as age. And if we're looking at age, for instance, you might think, okay, the people I'm going to do business with would be aged between 35 and 55, or it might be between 55 and maybe 70. So depending on what your business is and who you're trying to target, what their needs are, you can decide an age range. Demographic also deals with gender. For instance, if we look at my particular business, I work with women. I help women build six-figure businesses. So I've kind of carved out my target market based on gender and age as well. You might decide to work with the whole market, maybe male and female, depending on what your business is, or you may decide to focus it more on a particular gender. Ethnicity, you can decide to work with a particular group of people. Occupation. For instance, an example of this is if you're a coach, if you're a business coach, you might decide to work with accountants, or you might decide to work with lawyers, or you might decide to work with coaches. So you can target your market based on occupation if that would work for you. Another way to break your market down or focus on a particular aspect of the market is via income. How much do they earn? What are the income brackets? Family size, you could do it based on religion, the family life cycle, or marital status. You might focus on singles, you might focus on families, married couples with maybe with children, and so on and so forth. It could also be education level. You can decide to work with graduates. You might decide to work with people who've just high school graduates or university graduates. You can decide on what the characteristics of your marketplace will be, and depending on what you choose, for instance, if you decide to work with let's say people who have had a first or second degree, then the way you'd relate to them would be different from to people if they've only done maybe have had a basic form of education. So all this information would determine your business. So don't look at another person's business. They might do what you do. They might be a coach, they might be a life coach, but because of the demography of their target market, the way they do business and the language they use, the examples they use, the products they've created may be very, very different. So let's look at sociographics, and this is basically segmenting the market based on social status. So an example of this is by looking at the different social class bands. So they might decide to work with the lower class or middle class or upper class. Now, for instance, if you are looking to, there are things that the lower class would spend money on, but what you might find is that they may not have that much disposable income. So they might, if you're dealing with that market, you might want to maybe sell things that are essential, things that they must have, essential things. And when you're thinking of selling to the more affluent marketplace, you might start thinking of luxury goods and so on and so forth. With the middle class, you might think of things that may appeal, because they're always trying to invest upwards, they're trying to reach upwards, they're trying to better themselves. So products or services that would help them better themselves or better their opportunities may be what would appeal to that particular target market. Now let's talk about psychographics, and this is a bit interesting because you might have, for instance, let's assume that you're working with two different, let's say in my case, I'm working with women entrepreneurs. Now I might work with women, the women entrepreneurs where I live, which is outside London, and the women entrepreneurs in London. And what you'd find is that those two different groups of people, they think different, they behave different. And that's an element of psychographics that is quite interesting. So basically, when you look at segmentation based on psychographics, you're looking at things like lifestyle, their attitude to life, to business, it could be to personal development, their behavior, their values. Values is another key thing. It's so important to know the values, understand the values of your target market. Otherwise, what you might find is that you start to offend them. Know what might upset them, know what they're interested in. For instance, they might be interested in animals, they might be interested in maybe things like domestic violence, they might be interested in fairness, that kind of a thing. It's so important that you know their values, because when you do, you're able to talk to those values, you're able to talk to them, because people might even be part of they might become your clients because you have keyed into the values, into their value system. But also the other thing is that their values need to be a good match with yours, because you don't want to keep on violating yourself if you're working with them. They might not be ideal for you because their values are very different. Their values may be shocking for you. So you need to think carefully before you decide to go into that target market. Another example is interests, hobbies. Basically, what you're looking at is how they think and how they behave. For instance, with my business, like I said, I look at marketing to high achievers, because the type of products that I serve the marketplace with are products that people who are aspiring higher, like one of my products is how has to do with building a six-figure business. Now that would not appeal to everyone, but it would appeal to some people who are that way inclined, people who are into personal development, people who invest in their entrepreneurship development. That would be the kind of people that my services would attract at that level. So we've come to an end of this module 4. If you'd like more information about our products and services, please visit us at www.thesmartmarketersacademy.com.